Have you ever noticed how your elderly loved one seems to tire more quickly after a short walk? Maybe it's a walk around the block, or even just to the mailbox, and suddenly, they're out of breath, complaining of pain, or looking more worn out than they should be. You might have brushed it off, thinking it's just part of getting older. But what if I told you that pushing themselves too hard with these little walks could actually be speeding up the aging process? What if the very thing that we think is keeping them active is actually putting them at risk? And what if all these years of well-meaning encouragement to get moving could have unintended consequences that no one ever warned you about? Now, I get it, aging is hard. We all want our loved ones to stay as healthy and independent as possible. But the truth is, understanding how our bodies change as we get older is crucial. Our muscles, bones, and joints don't work the way they used to, and sometimes, the things we think are harmless, like walking, can actually hurt more than help. This video is all about helping you recognize that. Helping you spot the signs of overdoing it so you can protect your loved ones. We're talking about their health, their comfort, and, ultimately, their quality of life in these precious years. So let's dive into something that could make a real difference in the way you care for them. By the end of this video, you'll know how overwalking can actually accelerate the aging process, how to spot the red flags that you might have missed, and most importantly, I'm going to give you some practical, safer alternatives to help your loved ones stay fit and healthy without pushing their bodies too far. You'll be armed with knowledge that could really change how you care for the elderly in your life. Trust me, this is information that could make all the difference. Before we get into it, though, I want to hear from you. Comment, "I'm here," below if you want to learn more about how to support your loved ones as they age. And if this topic hits home for you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Elder Mature Moments so you can get more health and wellness tips for older adults. Let's jump right in. Imagine your grandmother. She used to look forward to her daily walks in the park. It was her time to clear her head, enjoy the fresh air, and keep moving, doing something she loved. But recently, something's changed. After every stroll, she complains about aches and pains in her knees, hips, or lower back. You notice her limping a little, or maybe she's sitting down more often to rest. At first, you think, well, she's getting older. It's just a part of life. But deep down, you start to wonder, what if it's more than that? What if these little walks are actually doing more harm than good? As we get older, our bodies don't work the same way they used to. Our joints become less lubricated over time, and the cartilage that cushions them begins to wear down. This process is called osteoarthritis, and it's something most people experience to some degree as they age. Now, when we're younger, our bodies bounce back quickly from activity, but when we get older, our joints become more fragile. Walking too much, especially if it's at a fast pace or on hard surfaces, can put stress on these already vulnerable joints, causing inflammation and pain. The more we push our bodies beyond their limits without proper rest, the worse it can get. And over time, what seemed like harmless daily walks can turn into a source of chronic discomfort. Many families, and even doctors at times, tell their elderly loved ones to get out and walk more. They think it's good for their health. After all, walking is one of the best exercises for seniors, right? But here's the thing. There's a big difference between being active and overexerting yourself. Encouraging someone to walk for miles or to walk every day without proper rest can actually backfire. In fact, for older adults with conditions like arthritis, the constant strain can make things worse. It's easy to assume that more walking equals better health, but the reality is, overdoing it can lead to painful joint flare-ups, a decrease in mobility, and even permanent damage over time. So, what can you do? Instead of pushing for long walks every single day, consider breaking up the walk into shorter, more manageable segments. Start with a 10-minute walk in the morning and another 10-minute walk in the evening. You could even alternate between days of walking and days of rest. Another great option is incorporating low-impact exercises that are easier on the joints, like swimming or cycling. These activities still get the heart pumping and the muscles working without putting too much pressure on the knees, hips, and other joints. And, of course, always listen to your loved one's body. If they're complaining of pain or discomfort, it's time to back off a little and let them recover. While joint health is a huge concern for the elderly, it's not the only area where overwalking can cause problems. Let's talk about another hidden danger that might be even more alarming: how overwalking can impact heart health, which can have serious long-term effects. Stay with me, because this next part could change everything you thought you knew about aging and exercise. Think about your father for a second. He used to get up every morning, lace up his sneakers, and walk briskly around the block with a spring in his step. He'd come back inside, his cheeks a little flushed, but still with energy to spare. But recently, something's changed. Now, when he walks, after just a few steps, he's gasping for breath. He needs to stop and catch his breath, his face looks pale, and he's complaining of being exhausted. You might try to reassure him, saying it's just a part of getting older, that everyone slows down a little. But deep down, a little voice wonders, what if it's something more? What if this sudden fatigue and shortness of breath are a sign of a deeper issue that's being overlooked? As we age, our heart's ability to pump blood efficiently starts to decline. This is a natural part of the aging process, but it's something that can become more pronounced with physical exertion. When the heart struggles to keep up with the body's demands, even light activities can leave us winded. Overwalking, especially at a fast pace, can put more strain on an aging heart. As the heart works harder, the body might not be able to keep up, leading to fatigue, breathlessness, and even an increased risk of heart strain. The heart isn't as strong as it once was, and pushing it too hard can cause serious issues, including chest pain or shortness of breath, which can be a warning sign of heart disease or other cardiovascular conditions. Here's a big misconception: many people think that if they just push through it, their body will get used to it. That if they keep walking or keep being active, they'll build up stamina. But that's not always the case. In fact, overdoing it can actually worsen underlying heart conditions like heart disease or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, making it harder for the body to keep up. Pushing through the fatigue, thinking it's just part of the aging process, can lead to even more serious complications down the road. It's important to recognize that while a little bit of exertion is good for heart health, too much can be detrimental. So, what's the best course of action here? Instead of pushing for long, strenuous walks that leave your loved one winded, encourage more moderate physical activity. Activities like stretching, yoga, or even walking at a slower pace can be just as effective at maintaining cardiovascular health without putting unnecessary strain on the heart. Remember, it's not about the intensity, it's about consistency and finding the right balance. It's also essential to monitor their heart health regularly. Regular checkups with a doctor can help you keep track of how well their heart is doing, and make adjustments as needed. If they're feeling unusually tired or short of breath, don't brush it off as just aging. It's a sign to slow down and get checked out. And while heart health is a serious concern, there's another issue that often goes hand in hand with overwalking: muscle weakness. As we age, muscle strength can decline, and overwalking might just be exacerbating that. Let's take a closer look at how muscle weakness can affect your loved one's overall health and mobility. Think about your aunt, someone who used to be the picture of strength and energy. She was always the first one to volunteer to carry the groceries, and she never hesitated to join in family walks around the neighborhood. But lately, after her usual walks, you notice something's different. She's more unsteady on her feet. You catch her holding onto railings when she goes down the stairs, or taking extra careful steps as she moves around the house. You might even see her sitting down more often, resting, something she never used to do. At first, you might think it's just a part of getting older. After all, don't we all slow down a little with age? But then it hits you: what if this unsteadiness is because she's been pushing herself too hard, and what if all that walking is making things worse? As we age, our muscles naturally lose strength and endurance. It's a part of the aging process. Our muscles aren't as resilient as they were in our younger years. But what happens when an older adult overexerts themselves, like walking too long or too often? It can cause muscle fatigue, and muscles that are already weaker are going to struggle even more. The result? Balance issues. The muscles that help us stabilize ourselves become less effective, and that's when the risk of falls skyrockets. When balance starts to wane, the chances of tripping, stumbling, and injuring yourself increase dramatically. And falls are one of the leading causes of serious injuries among the elderly: broken bones, sprained ankles, and, worst of all, head injuries. So, while walking is great for health, too much walking, especially for those whose muscles are already weaker, can be incredibly dangerous. There's a common misconception that more walking means stronger muscles. People often think that as long as their elderly loved ones are moving, they're staying healthy. But here's the issue: if they're pushing themselves too hard, it's actually doing the opposite. Overwalking overloads already weak muscles, leading to more fatigue and further muscle deterioration. It's like trying to keep lifting weights when you're exhausted. You're not building strength, you're risking injury. So when you see them pushing themselves through those extra steps, thinking it'll help, it's time to rethink that approach. So, what can we do to help? Instead of pushing for long, exhausting walks every day, we can incorporate strength training exercises into their routine. But don't worry, I'm not talking about anything too intense. Simple, light resistance exercises like using resistance bands or doing squats can work wonders. These exercises help build muscle strength without causing excessive strain. You don't need to go for long, hard walks to keep your loved one active. Instead, aim for a balanced routine. Incorporate strength exercises a few times a week, along with shorter, gentler walks. This will help keep their muscles strong and their balance steady, without overexerting them. While muscle strength and balance are crucial, overwalking can also have an effect on something many people overlook: mental well-being. Physical exhaustion can take a toll on the mind, leading to feelings of frustration, anxiety, or even depression. Let's dive into how overwalking can impact your loved one's mental health and well-being. Imagine this: your elderly loved one, who once found peace and joy in their daily walks, now comes back from a short walk looking more frazzled than ever. They're anxious, fidgeting, maybe even a little short-tempered. You've seen it before: the walk used to leave them feeling calm, refreshed, and energized, but now, there's a noticeable shift. Instead of coming back with a smile, they seem more stressed, more agitated. You might think, it's just a walk, why is it affecting them this way? The truth is, the physical strain of overwalking could be taking a toll on their mental health in ways you might not have expected. As we age, our bodies naturally become more sensitive to physical stress. When an older adult overdoes it with physical activity, it activates the body's stress response. This means that their cortisol levels, the hormone released during stress, rise, and if this continues over time, it can have a significant impact on their mood. Elevated cortisol levels can lead to feelings of anxiety, irritability, and even depression. It's easy to assume that exercise is just good for mental health, but here's the kicker: too much physical exertion, especially when the body isn't able to keep up, can trigger the exact opposite. It can overwhelm the body's systems, making it harder for them to regulate stress and leading to emotional exhaustion. The very thing that we believe will help them feel better can sometimes do more harm if it's overdone. Now, many people make the mistake of thinking that all exercise is inherently good for mental health. While physical activity does release those feel-good endorphins, pushing someone too hard, especially when they're not ready for it, can overwhelm their systems. It's not always about how much you do, but how well you balance the physical activity with rest. Overexercising can leave the body in a constant state of heightened stress, which will only lead to more mental and emotional challenges. People often overlook this when they encourage seniors to exercise more, thinking that more movement equals better mood. But if they're not taking the time to rest and recover, the opposite can happen. So, how do we strike a better balance? The key is to encourage a mix of physical activity and relaxation techniques. Gentle activities like stretching, yoga, or even a short walk at a slower pace can be beneficial, but make sure there's plenty of room for rest and recovery in between. Practices like meditation or breathing exercises can help calm the mind and counteract the stress response. Even something as simple as practicing mindfulness while walking, encouraging them to focus on their breathing or the sounds around them, can help reduce stress without overdoing it physically. The goal isn't to push them harder, it's to make sure their body and mind are getting the right kind of exercise and rest, in harmony. Now, while stress and anxiety are concerns we can address, there's something even more critical we need to consider: the long-term effects of overwalking on overall health and life expectancy. Let's explore how pushing the body too hard can affect their quality of life in the years to come. Take a moment to think about your mother. She's been walking long distances every day, rain or shine, keeping herself active because she knows it's good for her health. But lately, something's different. You notice that her once smooth skin is now developing more wrinkles. Her face looks tired, and her skin seems to be sagging a bit more than it used to. You might chalk it up to aging, thinking that it's just another inevitable sign of getting older. But what if this rapid change in her appearance isn't just a natural part of aging? What if all those long, brisk walks are actually contributing to the accelerated aging of her skin and tissues? Could it be that what was once a healthy habit is now causing her more harm than good? As we age, our skin naturally loses elasticity and the ability to regenerate at the same pace it used to. Collagen production slows down, which leads to sagging and wrinkles. But here's something that many people overlook. Overwalking, especially when it's intense and sustained, can contribute to more wear and tear on the body, including the skin. Think of it this way: our skin, muscles, and tissues are all interconnected. When we overstrain them by pushing our bodies too hard, the body's ability to repair itself diminishes. This includes the skin. The more we push ourselves physically without giving the body adequate rest, the faster the aging process accelerates. Overwalking can increase the breakdown of tissues, which leads to the appearance of more wrinkles, dryness, and sagging. It's not just about looking older, it's about the body's inability to recover as efficiently, which can leave the skin vulnerable to faster aging. Now, many people believe that being constantly active will keep them youthful, that the more they move, the better their skin will look and feel. But this isn't necessarily true. Excessive physical exertion, especially when it's not balanced with proper rest and recovery, can actually damage the skin and the tissue beneath. The myth here is that more is always better. In fact, overdoing it can have the opposite effect, causing premature aging. The constant wear on the skin, muscles, and tissues leaves them less able to repair themselves, leading to faster aging overall. The truth is, it's about finding the right balance between activity and rest to keep the skin and body healthy, without pushing them to the breaking point. So, what can you do to help protect your loved one's skin and overall tissue health? Instead of long, intense walks every day, encourage activities that are gentler on the body and promote tissue repair. Hydration is key. Make sure they're drinking plenty of water to keep their skin nourished from the inside out. A balanced diet rich in vitamins and antioxidants can also help protect the skin and improve its elasticity. In terms of physical activity, opt for moderate walking or stretching exercises, which provide the benefits of movement without putting excessive strain on the skin. If walking is part of their routine, keep it to manageable distances and encourage more variety in their physical activity. Something low impact, like swimming or light yoga, can be great alternatives to long, strenuous walks. Now that we've covered the physical signs, let's take a step back and address something that often gets overlooked in all of this: how these changes affect families. It's tough to see our loved ones going through this, but it's important to recognize the emotional toll these physical changes can take on both them and those who care for them. Let's dive into how these shifts in health can affect the entire family dynamic. Watching your loved ones age, it's one of the most challenging experiences many of us face. As time passes, it becomes harder to watch the people we love go through physical changes. We see them struggle with simple things like walking, something they used to do so effortlessly. The small signs, the little changes we might ignore at first, can suddenly become more apparent, and it can break your heart. Watching them slow down, seeing the pain in their eyes, or witnessing them feeling discouraged, it's tough. But here's the thing, understanding these signs of overwalking gives you the ability to intervene before things get too serious. Knowing when your loved one is overdoing it means you can step in, adjust their routine, and protect them from further harm. It means you can be there for them in a way that prevents unnecessary suffering. Instead of feeling helpless, instead of fearing the changes you're seeing, know that you now have the knowledge and the power to make a difference. You've learned the signs, you've learned the risks, and most importantly, you've learned what you can do about it. It's not about being scared or overwhelmed by what's happening, it's about being proactive. You're in a position to help. You can make changes to their routine, offer them safer alternatives, and ensure that their later years are filled with strength, joy, and love, instead of pain and frustration. When you recognize the early warning signs, you don't have to feel like you're watching helplessly. You can step in and make their experience of aging one that's filled with dignity and comfort. So what should you do next? If you've noticed any of these signs in someone you love, take a moment today to adjust their routine. Don't wait for things to get worse. Maybe start with smaller, more manageable walks instead of the long ones. Encourage them to rest more and give their bodies the time they need to recover. You don't have to make drastic changes overnight, but you can begin now by taking action to protect their well-being. The key is balance, encouraging gentle activity, but never pushing them too hard. The sooner you notice the signs and make adjustments, the better off they'll be. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Taking small steps towards healthier living, making these adjustments to their daily routine, can make all the difference. By just being aware of what overwalking can do and knowing how to manage it, you're already making a huge impact. You've got the knowledge now to create a more comfortable, healthier environment for your loved one. You're in control. And with love, patience, and the right actions, you can ensure their later years are filled with vitality, happiness, and, most of all, peace. It's a tough journey, but you don't have to face it alone. You've got the power to make it better, one step at a time. To recap, today we've covered some really important topics that could make a huge difference in your loved one's life. We talked about how overwalking can affect their joints, causing strain and pain. We explored how it can impact the heart, leading to fatigue and shortness of breath. We also touched on how it can cause muscle weakness and balance issues, increasing the risk of falls. Plus, we learned that excessive walking can even take a toll on mental health, causing stress and anxiety. Finally, we discussed how overwalking accelerates skin aging, something that many people don't realize until it's too late. If you've noticed any of these signs in your loved one, now is the time to take action. Adjust their walking routine, add some low-impact exercises, and make sure they're not overexerting themselves. Taking these steps today can help protect their health tomorrow. I want to hear from you. Which of these signs have you noticed in your elderly loved ones? Have you seen any of these changes already, or maybe you're worried about them? Comment below. I'd love to hear your experiences. It's important to share these stories because we can all learn from each other and find ways to better care for our families. Your experience might help someone else make the right choice for their loved ones, too. If you found this video helpful and you're ready to learn more about how to take better care of your elderly loved ones, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video and share it with others who might benefit from this information. At Elder Mature Moments, we're dedicated to giving you the knowledge and tools you need to help your loved ones live healthier, happier lives. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Stay informed, stay strong, and remember, you're doing an amazing job caring for the people who matter most. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and remember, you've got this.